Let's take a look at synchronous modeling. Let's see that in synchronous modeling we have all these commands: move, delete, replace, offset, and then there's those other commands within the synchronous modeling as well. Let's take a look at a few of those. First, let's take a look at the most popular command within synchronous. That is move face. Let's drag that user interface in the right location. We have this what's called select intent. Anything coplanar we can go and grab. And then we can also drag onto the handle, say, hey, snap to an object. So that will give us precise movement to this. And now that is something that we can do. We can go ahead and undo what we have done before. So do a Control Z to undo what we done before. The next thing what we want to do is we want to do what we call the move face. But in this case, we want to kind of rotate that around the angle. So let's go into the angle. We want to define the proper vector and define a arc center. Now we can drag the handle and see that how that is moving, all that. And then if we want to get it to right at 90 degrees, so let's move that to 90 degrees, we should see an error message. The reason being is that the inside hole of that will become tangent to that planar face. So let's go ahead and change that to 45 for right now. And then let's go ahead, once that is done, we want to get rid of some of those the edges, so we can pull both cylindrical faces outward. We grab onto that once again with our select intent. We can drag the symmetric, we can drag that outward a little bit, and we can also drag same thing with a select intent, and then we'll be able to find certain face finder and then pull that out. So this time we want to go and change the history of those features. We want to drag that to the bottom and then go back, edit that 45 degrees to a 90 degrees. Then we shouldn't have any issue whatsoever because the inside hole is no longer tangent to that particular planar face. All right, so we can do once again, let's look at the other data set. I did a save as, and first thing as I did is I removed the parameters. In this case, doesn't matter. As we go in there and change the blend, NX Synchronous Modeling will recognize that, and then from a no history geometry, we can also add history back in. Next thing we want to do is do a replace face. Same thing what we did before. We want to replace those two bosses to the top. That will give us similar results. That we can also do the same to the planar faces that is on either side of it, and then just select that planar face and then replace it by an arc, and then that'll give us a full arc on that as well. Okay, so this is the power of the synchronous. Can take parameters or non-parameters geometry, make a design change fairly quickly. We also can do delete face. Delete face will give us the same results of that. So in this case, I want to go ahead and delete one of the boss. And then earlier when we create that geometry, we could have just created one of them and just create it, using synchronous, and then create that proper boss on the other side. In this case, we want to go ahead, resize that a little bit, and then we want to go into pattern face. Once we see the pattern face command, we select that particular boss on one side, and then we want to use the vector in the right direction, correct arc, so that will give us the opposite end as well. Or we can have multiple, so we could have 4 of them in this case, and then once that is done, we didn't like that blend showing up on the edge like that, so we're going to go ahead and delete those 2 planar faces. So we can go ahead, either replace or delete face, but in this case I select replace face. This is what we have in synchronous modeling.